Triple KO!
Welcome back to Triple KO, the place where the fighting game news just doesn't stop. It's impossible. I can't believe there's more since EVO. I should just expect this at this point, because I think it was like this last year where we had to kind of like separate kind of EVO stuff into like 2 different episodes.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to me that there's kind of more things. Like some announcements didn't get made at EVO because we gotta hold that back a little bit, just like 2 weeks or something. So to my depending on how this is edited, to my left and or right is Maximilian, and to my left and or right is Justin Wong. How are you guys doing?
Feeling better.
Yay!
Because I got COVID from EVO and everything, so still got some after effects. And we're just pretty much getting over it in the whole household, pretty much. So we're good.
Jeez.
Right, Max.
Sorry,
you got
Justin.
back from that. You
It's
got
all
back
good.
from some type of secret trip.
Yeah, I went on a secret tunnel trip to NRS Studios. Pretty much a almost immediate duplication of the 2019 Mortal Kombat 11 trip, where you essentially get to check out NRS's offices for a little bit and then play some chunk of single-player portions of the game. I think last time in 2019 it was Johnny Cage, and we played a bit of like his story mode that was in Mortal Kombat. I think it was actually Cassie, the name Mortal Kombat 11, and then you could play as that character like a little bit. So I think Cassie was like the new character at the time. This trip it was Kung Lao. Kung Lao was actually a fully playable character.
Nice.
And we played as chapter 1 of the story mode. So and it was literally Kung Lao's portion of the story mode, and then we also got to play Invasions. So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, for NRS Studios, I've never been. Is it like filled with like pits and traps and acid baths?
Yes.
I'd like to think. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like every day should be a challenge.
Yeah.
Every day,
Right?
every day you gotta fight for your life, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's just nothing but decrepit gore on all the walls in every single corner of the office, and then there's like one nice office, and that one's like Ed's office. Everyone else lives in a pool of blood.
I was gonna say, sometimes when I'm playing a game and there's some dank dungeon with like bodies on spikes, I'm just like, hey, it's Ed Boon's media room or like his basement or something. But he's like probably the opposite. So everyone else is like, oh, put spikes everywhere, and Ed's like, no, that's okay.
Did you get to see Ed, or was he already on his way to like Germany or
Gamescom.
something?
He was really close to being at Gamescom. He wasn't a part of the like official tour, at all. Here's Ed Boon, like right there.
Hi.
Don't get closer than 10 feet away. No, it wasn't like that. But it was the same thing. My interaction with Ed was the same, like in every single event, or even the last 4 years, where it's just like we run into each other like outside of the event, and we get to chat a little bit about the industry and stuff like that.
Okay.
I made sure to tell him about survival arts at EVO.
Good.
I was like, you got to play survival arts. He's like, what is that?
Who are
Like,
you?
It's Japanese. He didn't say who I am. He knew, but he was like, what is that? I'm like, it's bad Japanese Mortal Kombat. It's amazing. He's like, oh shit. I'm like, it's in the arcade section over there. And he's like, okay. I'm sure he didn't have enough time to play, but I'm glad I told him about
All
it.
right, man. I know you were so happy to tell him about survival arts, but you kept mentioning one thing, like I hope you talk to Ed Boon or talk to NRS about it. Did you ask him about the no blood mode?
I did.
Ooh.
I did ask not Ed directly, but a kind gentleman at Warner Brothers basically said, we're aware that people want things, and the end of the story is it's a very, very complicated issue.
Yeah.
And there's no easy solutions. Even if people think there's easy solutions, there's not. It drops down to then yes or no, and then yes or no splits off into, does this affect that? Does this affect that?
Yeah.
YouTube is a thing that they have to get answers from, and anyone, Max, you and I, sometimes you just don't get answers. You can be a pretty big corporation, you just don't get them.
Yeah, to sort of defend, slightly defend what happens on NRS's side and WB's side, the issue has been brought up to YouTube specifically. from what I can recall, and the producers I've talked to at WB. So a lot of the efforts and the complaints and, you know, being a Mortal Kombat content creator can be kind of difficult over the past 4 years. Was brought to a head, and there was meetings with people at YouTube, and the ultimate result is the policy is the way it is. So unless the games like fundamentally change, if you're looking at being a content creator, you know, you're gonna have to take some egregious steps to avoid extra blood, to avoid direct characters dying and getting mutilated. All these kind of things will 100% flag the system. Yep. So, and I've been running into it again where it's just like, man, none of this makes any sense. Where it's like, and the tough part is, even as a process of me making Mortal Kombat videos, some of my Street Fighter 6 videos, just playing ranked matches, have been getting flagged for 18 plus and, you know, in yellow dings. And I'm like, I don't curse in the first 5 minutes of this video at all. Yeah. And then apparently it's like, but I do say goddamn. So depending on whose feathers that word ruffles, they'll just be like, no, sorry. So again,
I thought you were gonna say some female characters is what trips it, like zoom ins on super moves and that
yeah,
like...
not in Street Fighter, not historically, you know. So ultimately, it's already affecting my other content, right? And a lot of my older videos that never had flags in them before suddenly are like, I've gotten like 7 flags on older videos, like older Resident Evil videos. I just can't monetize anymore because the latest Mortal Kombat stuff has elevated my channel to, you know, a content warning that, you know, we need to hold your other videos under higher scrutiny because your newer videos are, you know, all gory.
Yeah, actually, when you say that, you said Resident Evil. I think a few days ago, I got a notice that, like, me going through the demo of RE8 Village just...
Yep, me too.
Two years after the fact.
Wow.
Just, yeah,
that video specifically. Yeah.
Wow.
So stuff like that starts happening if you make Mortal Kombat content.
Okay.
So we got to play Powerpuff Girls. That's what happens.
There is
something.
Change everything to strawberries and shortcakes, and you know
I think there is a Powerpuff Girls fighting game on like the N64 or some shit. I think there's something like that.
No, there is.
It's kind of crazy. Just speaking from a content creator front, that NRS games used to be this absolute like boon. I hate to use that. Dad, damn, being a father does some shit to you. Making NRS content used to be an absolute like boon for your channel, right? Because there was like a huge casual content like bait. It allowed people a way into the FGC to play other fighting games, like all this kind of stuff. So it was just like a wonderful bridge gap if people haven't really played a lot of fighting games before. And now it's the exact opposite. Now it's literally a bane, where if you make Mortal Kombat like content, you're always stepping on eggshells.
Yeah, like when I'm putting up Mortal Kombat videos, I'm like censoring every single, like, if I think it's too bloody type of thing, I'm like,
sure,
yeah, it needs to be taken out. I need to zoom in on my character and like kind of take the fatalities or brutalities away, fatal blows. None of that is in the video whatsoever. It's just literally just doing combos, pretty much, right? It gets kind of stale because that doesn't really show Mortal Kombat.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is that you hope that this appeals towards people that actually like Mortal Kombat gameplay. And if there's one thing of interacting with MK audiences over the past couple of weeks, is that gameplay is not the biggest concern. So, and that's the thing, is that even a lot of my older content like didn't especially focus on like gameplay stuff until you actually start playing online and you like the games. It's like, oh yeah, then I really just want to focus on the gameplay stuff. Yep. But yeah, there's so much like casual appeal to MK. Luckily, you know, I've started to like already adjust and deviate. So I'm already making content that is stuff that will not flag the system like harshly, which is, you know, I'm doing a new series called Visual History.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh yeah, this works out. This is something that I can actually talk about the history of Mortal Kombat and show stuff without, you know, YouTube thinking I'm a fucking psychopath.
Yep.
So Justin mentioned X-rays, and I think a lot of it comes down to you can turn off blood with a switch. You can potentially just turn off disable fatalities. What do you do about X-rays? They're literally an animated thing, and you're gonna see like red muscle tissue. Like,
for sure.
That's kind of, to me, the big thing. I'm like, how are they supposed to actually handle that? Just not do X-rays? You need something. You need a move.
Yeah, and you're talking about from NRS's front. On our front, it's like, you know, blurring and desaturating and removing the color and changing the colors. And that's the thing. Like, that's where you got to realize where this isn't a simple blood on and off thing, because so much blood in the game is like built into the presentation and the engine. Like MK11, that was that especially. They had this all new blood tech, right? So they would not want to turn it off. And now you see all the sinew and insides cracking and ripping open, the nuts and dicks just getting shredded apart in the latest combat cast. It's like, damn, dude. How are you supposed to get rid of that? How are you supposed to like censor that? So I don't have an answer for you. Like, that's like, they have to change the way the game works.
Like Japanese porn it. Just
Japanese porn of the censor and everything.
blur it.
That's what I do, bro.
You know what you have to do? You have to wait for Mortal Kombat versus DC.
We will. You know what? We should play that in the meantime.
No. I mean, Mortal Kombat versus DC 2. Sorry.
Okay.
The second one.
Okay.
Like, where they have to get super creative with fatalities and x-rays that are brutal and violent, but don't show, like, the nuts and dicks getting ripped apart. So,
which is a shame, because someone modeled those nuts and dicks.
Exactly. It spent a lot of time looking at nuts and dicks and what the insides of them look like. And then, so ultimately, that's the solution, is that a game that's completely fashioned around the fact that gore is not the highlight, but that's Mortal Kombat. It's like,
that is Mortal Kombat.
That is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So unfortunately, to sum all that up, the answer is like, we're aware, but this isn't like a simple. It was much nicer than that. It was
a
like,
nicer.
There's
please
not
eat
an
shit.
easy solution.
Yeah.
Please, if you can. Before we get back to that Mortal Kombat single player stuff, we did want to touch on some things from EVO past. We didn't actually talk about. There's too many announcements. Way too many. So we're going to actually talk about some tourney stuff in terms of top 32s, top 6s. What did you guys see? What did you guys enjoy?
It's hard to make finals exciting sometimes. And that's kind of how I felt until we got to Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 was really amazing. But every other finals, like, there was a tweet about how every finals before Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 7, no, I think Tekken 7 as well, they were all mirror matches.
Yes, Tekken 7 was a mirror match.
Mortal Kombat was a mirror match. It was a good mirror match. It was a mirror match nonetheless.
I think of the first finals to actually break the curse, the mirror match curse, because it went all the way back to even Dragon Ball from the night before, was Guilty Gear Strive. And Strive did not have a mirror match finals. So, yeah, I personally feel Street Fighter 6 saved EVO.
It did, 100%. I was so bored.
EVO. Because every match of Street Fighter 6 was interesting and super good. That top 8 was amazing. And it goes to show that Street Fighter 6 is a great game to watch in high level.
Yeah, it was very good. And then, like, the fact that there was also a lot of, like, character diversity. Obviously, it still showed the top tiers, and people are very, like, it's going into the second month of the game. It showed a lot of amazing gameplay from, like, people from all around the world, because you had people from USA, you had Mena from DR, right? You have Angry Bird from UAE, you had Kaku from Japan. It was literally a world fighting game at the
World
EVO.
Warriors.
World Warriors for sure. So that was nice.
So the interesting thing about when I sat down, like, consumed a lot more, was watching Angry Bird as a Ken, and you see a Ken sometimes, or a character like Ken, and your eyes kind of gloss over. You're like, yeah, they're Ken. And then when you're watching that Ken, and you're like, damn, I don't know what, like, the way he plays him. I was just like, holy shit. Okay, because you're just like, oh, this Ken will eventually lose, like, just Ken's natural advantages in the game. I don't know, like, it's going to be some other character that beats him. And then you just watch it.
Yeah.
Especially against JP, and I was just like, holy shit. And I still in my head think like, oh yeah, that's for sure going to be the winner. It's hard to predict that, but I was just amazed when you watch that Ken. You're like, damn, that's another level Ken right there.
This is a goddamn battle.
He's Ken enough.
It was a battle.
I almost feel like the relationship of, like, Ken and Ryu and how they are as characters in this game, like playable characters, is identical to Third Strike. It's almost funny. Where it's like, yeah, Ryu isn't, like, really bad, but in comparison to the things that are good, no, he's clearly missing some shit. Like, Ken's just got all the better normals, easier to combo into supers, like, all the shit that applies in Third Strike that makes Ken more approachable, usable, and to be honest, just fun to play, is the exact same relationship that those characters have in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. But, the nice part is that Ken's not a snooze fest character. like in some other characters, maybe in Street Fighter like 6, and especially in Third Strike, right? There's some snooze fest characters in Third Strike for sure. So ultimately, I think he's in a good spot where he's kind of exciting, right? It's kind of like, damn, this is some shit, dude. A lot of fucking up, a lot of Ken's dropping basic combos, because all of Ken's actual good combos are tough as shit, even at a high level. So it's great to see that character has that much optimization. I just hope everybody else gets that much eventually too, and they just don't tone everything down. It's just like, no, man, like, you see how much shit Ken can do? Give everybody this stuff.
I mean, some other characters probably already have it. Another character that we saw in the top 6 that really showed off was Blanca.
Yes.
NRD's Blanca. Oh my god, those
it's got so much shit.
Yeah, it's like, the last time Blanca was probably ever good was CVS 2.
Yeah, and Blanca was good in CVS 2 for completely different reasons, like movement speed, jump speed, like big normals, like wild and stuff, like electricity. It was like 3 really core things that just made him top tier as shit. And in this one, it's like we just overloaded his ass with gimmicks.
Yeah,
and they're actual legit.
Good.
They're good. They're not technically gimmicks anymore. Now they're actually legit mix. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch. And then even watching Kakeru play, like, he was like the JP. I know people hates JP, they hate fighting JP, they hate seeing JP. I think JP was the most overused character at EVO.
Yeah, and online. He's still the most the most used, at the highest win rate.
Yeah, but his optimization with JP was like really insane. Like, he's not just doing Pierce, just spammy. He's like literally fighting you at the same time. Oh yeah. So it's beautiful.
Yeah,
but
JP's
Sorry, Max. I was just gonna say it's like when you first saw like a high level Glacius in KI 2013. Just I'm doing shit from halfway across the screen, and there's not much you can do, at least initially, with certain characters. So watching that JP kind of reminded me of that. And I can see why people like are disgusted when they fight him, and everyone wants JP to get nerfed. But I think, Justin, you, Max, as well said, it's like, don't touch this game until like a year. Don't buff or nerf anybody yet.
That didn't come from us. That came from the devs.
Oh,
they are not changing anything on core characters unless it's a bug. Like Rashid's spinning thing. Nothing's changing for a year. So they already said that.
I support that, but like I think it was Justin. You said like don't touch him. Like you agreed with that, right?
Yeah, I don't want any buffs or nerfs. I feel like let the game rock. More characters are still being figured out, new strategies. Mm-hmm. Like if Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo can still develop new strategies without a patch, then Street Fighter 6 can clearly do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's obvious which characters are good right now, but you know, it's crazy that we're talking about this whole roster and some characters are getting their eras right now, where it's like Ken had an era, and obviously like JP is in his era right now. The beginning was Cammy and like Jury and stuff. They had their eras of just them being everywhere. And it's like, I don't know if Luke has had his era yet.
Not yet.
He's definitely good as shit in this game.
He's stable. He's just chilling. He's like, I'm good.
All these characters all these characters are like waiting to. People are asking for nerfs for all these characters, and I have visioned like Luke in the back with a huge bucket of fried chicken, just shoving his face. He's like, "What, me? Yeah. No, not me."
He's not having his era in gameplay, but he's having his era in memes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like just being lovable now. Because what a crazy turnaround from Street Fighter 5, Luke. Where I'm like, look at this fucking shithead. Oh my god, hate him so much. And then like even leading into the launch of this, I was like, no, I'm still not. But when you actually experience him in the game and you see what the voice actor does with him, and it's like, no, this is like he's getting. Yeah. It's just mixing a bit of Dan into a more serious Shoto or something like that. It's a very unique mix. Aside from Street Fighter 6, is there like, because I watched the MK11 one, and what made that exciting for me is I like Fujin a lot in that game. He looks cool, has good moves, but Ketchup's commentary is like took that to another level for me. I've seen like one or two things he's commentated in the past, like Combo Breaker and stuff, but he was so fucking hype for this mirror match, and it made me hype too. So big ups to Ketchup for that.
Yeah, I think Ketchup and Mustard are the absolute ambassadors of like Mortal Kombat. Like I actually think that they are the peak and pinnacle. If I can ever involve them in content or get them to host, like be a part of tournaments that I'm running for MK, they're like the first people I immediately go to.
Yeah. I don't think I get to other finals. I didn't really care for too much. Like I was enjoying Marvel 3 because like KBR was cooking and he was in winners finals.
Beginning of Marvel 3 was good, right?
Yeah, it was good. But once I saw the Zero May Cry versus Zero May Cry grand finals, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I already know who won.
So I had to deal with the chat room of like 45,000+ people talking about this is what you wanted, like all this kind of shit, and it's like, you guys are so dumb. Like, you don't even realize that this is one of the more normal teams in the game. Like, this isn't actually the lame stuff. Like, Zero's pretty lame and he's like really good and dominant, right? But you did not go through like the Phoenix or Morgan era where it's significantly worse. This is a good team, but this is not nearly like the best teams in the game type shit. So it's like, shut up.
I like that. The worst stuff is coming. Buckle in. You're not even.
This isn't even as bad as it gets, man.
Yeah, I think with just Marvel 3 history, people just hope that like some like random non-meta team or like half meta team just takes Evo, right? Because usually it's been proven to the case that it did happen in that regards. But I mean, I would rather watch Zero May Cry mirror than a Morgan Doom mirror any day.
Yep, absolutely. And at least we saw like a wild ass Wolverine Iron Fist team.
Yeah, sparring from him. He was sick. That
was cool.
Max, you did see those covers of Wolverine versus Predator, right?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Pretty goddamn cool.
I need to know that you saw it.
I need to know.
I did watch the K when I sat down because I was busy saying hello to a bunch of friends. Hey, what up to friends and fans of the show that we bumped into, I'm sure me and Justin both. But the KI exhibition was like weird to actually watch. Aside from Max's face popping up, it was weird to watch it because I'm like, it's been so long since I'd seen competitive KI. I mean, I guess since the Rivals event, right?
Yeah.
So just watching it again and being like, what? I sometimes forget that character can do that and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it was just odd to watch it.
Dude, I forget that shit. Like, I still don't even know I fully understand how Spinal's suck shit works. Like, because it's changed so much. It's been like 3 different things over time, And I still forget that, like, I'll jump back into KI and I'm like, all right, time to pop Instinct and build back all my battery meter. And I'm like, oh wait, no, it doesn't work that way anymore. Like, that was like 2 versions. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I get all pip. Oh, that's what it is. Like, KI went through so many drastic and crazy changes over that period of time that it's like 3 different games.
You gotta be a KI main to know what how everything works.
Yeah, you had to play a lot of season 3 because season 3 a lot of shit changed.
And more will change in the future. I've heard, as we've mentioned in the past. I also watched the Garou Finals of regular
how was that?
Mark of the Wolves. I mean, it was obviously a side turning that was just kind of sponsored by SNK. So the audio wasn't that great, and there's something about them like this. It's a little rough to watch this on a technical level. Just enjoying it. If I was there. Watching it would have been a bit different. But I enjoyed it. A lot of Kevin Ryan. Kevin Ryan better be in City of the Wolves.
Kevin Ryan's so cheap in that game too.
Yeah. A lot of people also said, Max, you'll love this character. Last episode, we said who should be in City of the Wolves. A lot of people said Duck King, or as Max affectionately calls him, Cuck Ding.
Cuck Ding? I might have made that joke at some point in my life for sure.
Because you had to fight him a couple of times, I believe, in the Legacy. Because your Terry Legacy is what made me go, like, I should just do a Fatal Fury retrospective. So as I was writing and editing that, I was watching a bunch of the Legacy at that point. But, like, yeah, Duck King is, like, a good choice. Hasn't been in a KOF since
11? 11. Yeah, 11.
11, yeah. So, it was pretty cool. Other than that, I didn't see Tekken. I didn't see Strive. I didn't see, I missed Melty Blood. I just don't know where it was. I just missed it.
I think it was on Friday, possibly. It was like a 1-day turn, like, because EVO is like so busy that like there's gonna have 1-day tournaments. Like finals will happen on Friday, some finals will happen Saturday, and some finals will happen Sunday. Right. But maybe you missed it on Friday because like whatever's the lowest entrance will always be on Friday.
Yeah, because I always want to tune in just for like a match or two, be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I'll never understand.
That's
It's a
like
mirror match.
the nice part about the big multi-streams, which is what I do when I'm streaming it from home. It's just like, just click around. And
Yeah.
when something goes to break, just check this out.
I assume you handle that like Marty McFly does when he turns on all like 7 channels at
Yeah.
once in Back to the Future. 2, and you
Essentially,
just-
yes. Taking a quick break from the podcast right now, we got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is HelloFresh. And for anybody that hasn't been around or tried this before, we've had the opportunity in the past ourselves to check it out. You can literally skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable, which is why it's the #1 meal kit in America. So fall's like right around the corner. HelloFresh is got several plans for the busy season ahead with dishes that can be delivered straight to your door. And you can choose between recipes, your delivery date, and you can just sit at home and enjoy the last days of summer knowing that dinner is essentially covered. And for anybody that likes to cook at home, this is the perfect opportunity to do so because it's all about efficiency. If you feel like you want to make like a wholesome homemade meal and there's not enough time, all you need is about 15 minutes. And you'll be enjoying tasty, satisfying meals in your own kitchen. And they have their own quick and easy dinner options, and setting it up is relatively simple as well for breakfasts, lunches too. Justin, I think you had the chance to also work with, if not use HelloFresh in the past, right?
Yeah, it was really fun because one, I am a terrible cook.
Me
two,
too.
Yeah, two, I am good at following directions. So it's really helpful to have like kind of really easy instructions to help you go through the cooking process. I also cooked with my wife. Me and Jackie, we were like, hey, let's just cook for the family. Usually we don't really cook for the family, but this time we have all these different type of meals from HelloFresh, and let's just try to make a whole meal for the whole family, right? And that was really fun because it gave me and her bonding time, because normally we play video games, but this time we were sent to the kitchen, cook for the family, and we saved a lot of time, saved a lot of money, and had a great old time doing it.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is that if you're sort of like looking to jump into cooking or want a beginner cooking experience that guides you through it and gives you all the appropriate ingredients and, you know, the levels of ingredients you need, because adding one of too much a thing will mess up cooking for sure.
Yeah,
they kind of got you covered with all of this. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys want to support the podcast, you can go to HelloFresh.com/50TKO and use the code 50TKO for 50% off plus free shipping. That again is HelloFresh.com/50TKO. Our code 50TKO, 50% off plus free shipping.
So after that, I couldn't believe on the last day of EVO, Justin's like, "Yeah, I'm heading to
Saudi Arabia."
Saudi Arabia," and I was like, "For what?" He's like, "For this $1 million tournament," and I just didn't hear about it. I guess I was like, "What do you? It's like $1 million tournament? Like that's not a Capcom Pro Tour thing?" He's like, "No, it's a separate tournament." I was like, "Is this like an underground Kumite? No, like only the best players in the world know about this?" You're like, "No, it's been advertised." I was like, "Oh, okay." So unfortunately, didn't get to go, but 32 perfect parries resulted in a very big win. And I made sure to watch that match, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That sound effect of a perfect parry going off was starting to get ingrained in your head.
It was a great just tournament to watch from pools. It's like a round robin pools to like bracket, and Kakaru really turned it up because I really thought it was gonna be an Angry Bird repeat the way he was playing throughout the whole entire tournament. But then in grand finals, I don't know what happened. Kakaru just turned on Ultra Instinct Goku and just like literally said, "I'm gonna perfect parry the world." And Angry Bird just kind of fell apart there. And like, I mean, perfect parry is gonna be the future, the next future of Street Fighter 6 for sure.
Yeah, and you start to realize like why it's so good, you know?
Yep.
Like as a mechanic, what those questions we had early on, why don't you get full damage
Yeah,
after
I know.
a perfect parry? And it's like, yeah,
It makes sense now.
The thing that we were thinking at the start was like wake ups, right? Because if you try to meaty somebody, where's the most common occurrence of perfect parry is on wake ups, because you can time your wake up with a meaty, bam, perfect parry. Dude, that means that wake ups are like nullified. Like meaties are shitty.
Yeah, too risky.
Way too risky to meaty somebody if you're going for perfect parry most of the time. So that's just too powerful of an option. So the devs thought of this, like, again, Street Fighter 6 is a game that they thought about a lot of these mechanics, and they wanted it to be a volatile game. You know, to the point where it's like even in some other games where, you know, there's a lot of screen space, even the latest MK1 beta, I was playing it a bit and it's like, man, all of our games are going to like 10 seconds. Like
Yeah.
majority of my matches, I'm actually just sitting on a life lead and it's just the way to go. And there's no way for them to get to me. Like they could throw out a cameo, I'll just block it. Like, so it's like, oh, it's starting to see where the developers are really thinking of this. They want a game that is volatile and will cause some upsets and some people to be like, yeah, I don't like this or like that. But you know, trust me, there was your ass was getting hit by unblockable vortex in Street Fighter 4. Your ass was getting hit by unreactable, you know, practically unreactable dashes and V-trigger block cancel shit. Like, don't worry, this shit is in every single fighting game.
I was gonna say it's better that these things are in there versus a game having nothing.
Nothing.
And that there's nothing to change or it to evolve.
All I have is my normals and specials and nothing else. Like, and that's like the pure game that people are looking for.
The speed of 6 is just really fast.
It's so good.
Like literally, it's like a tournament set of a 2 out of 3 can be done in like 2.5 minutes.
Yep,
that's
it's
how
amazing.
That's how fast tournament matches at EVO are happening. Like literally 2 minutes, that's it.
And
Next match, boom, boom, boom.
And it doesn't feel undeserved in Street Fighter 6. I got to give that credit to the game. Where in some other games, it's like really obvious that they're trying to speed up the game, like Strive. I hate to use this as an example, but yeah, Strive just cranked up the damage on anything super basic. So yeah, the matches can just go like this. But that's obvious because like slash to heavy slash to special is ripping off 30%. Like it is just whooping your ass.
Yep.
So it doesn't feel like there's an obvious thing in SF6 that is like, oh yeah, this is what's making the matches go fast. Outside of the fact that drive rush and the shift of momentum can really be interesting. It can really like make shit go very fast.
Yeah, and that's different from like actual, you know, maybe not the sharpest design or like even a bug like in the early days of Cross Tekken,
sure,
where it was like every match was getting
jab timeout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jab timeout and jumping tatsus and shit. It's like we also felt the same thing in Project L. When we're playing it in the current version, like a lot of the matches, when you start actually figuring out how the game works, even when you have combo knowledge and damage knowledge, start to slow down. It starts to get like, most of our games are running to timeout. And that's just the thing that is like, got to figure it out. Like there's something going on that'll fix that. Either it's screen space or, you know, how often do engagements happen? Like all that kind of shit.
So yeah, the finals, Kakeru versus Angry Bird. So $400,000 was awarded to Kakeru. We're not quite at millionaire fighting yet.
Pretty close.
But we're close.
Yeah.
Closer than
it's still pretty good already. And it's also like the game is 2 months old. So imagine you just invest 2 months into the game and now you're $400,000 richer.
That's got to be the biggest prize pool for one individual, like a single player paid out prize pool in Street Fighter history.
Yeah,
right?
Street Fighter history it is.
Yeah. Even the Capcom Cups broke like 200K, maybe 250.
It was 250 for first. I don't know. I know the first year you get like a not royalties, but like a cut of like people buying that CPT Pro Tour Battle Pass.
I see.
So, but I don't know how much that was. That was never publicly announced or anything in terms of the amount. So who knows about that? But from public point of view, yeah, currently this is the highest prize pool for an individual, $400,000.
So you guys think this will get higher over the course of the next year, like by?
Well, Capcom Cup is $1 million for first, so that's going to be the future highest. I don't know what other games or what other companies have announced. I did see like an Instagram from like RDC World, and they're running a $500,000 like Mortal Kombat 1 tournament for like college students. So that's pretty huge. Yeah, it was crazy. I saw that on Instagram.
I'd like to see all the NRS pros like go back to college temporarily.
They're gonna be mad. They're gonna be mad for sure.
They're not gonna be mad. They're gonna just find some community college and then
everyone's
sign
like,
up for
"Hello,
courses.
fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids."
how old are you? Don't worry about it. I just want to go back to school. You know what I mean? So
Steve
I just want to learn. I'm just here to like learn a new trade. So yeah, I didn't hear about that tournament. That's crazy. But why? Is there any particular reason why just college students? Just like
Maybe that's just the thing they want to encourage more kids.
Pay off student debts.
But yeah, and it's Mountain Dew is the one sponsoring that event too.
Oh.
So it's not from like Warner Bros. Or anything. It's like a separate thing that they're doing.
Downton Moo?
Okay.
Mountain Dew.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of the drink?
Never heard of
No.
Downton
Dew of
Moo.
Mountain. You never heard of Baja Blast?
Baja Blessed.
Baja Blast. But you know what's also really cool? Dan being a character in Marvel 3.
Yeah, it is.
Yo, he is sick. I was like looking at this trailer and comments. I'm like, yo, he's kind of fun.
That modder put some pretty excellent effort into making that realization of Dan look that good. And then at first I saw the first early videos and it was over Ryu, and then eventually he got a Dan model in there. So yeah, I have to remind people, this is where the future of Marvel vs. Capcom lies, is in fans making all of this ridiculously cool shit being added to the game.
100% correct. And Dan's probably one of the hardest characters because it's like all of his, usually traditionally, all of his animations are like, he has a specific run. He has like, you can't just, you could just make Ryu and that's the end of the day. But like, even a lot of his like strings and stuff seem to be like extra care in the animations.
Really cool.
It was really impressive.
And just as a reminder, the game is still not in a state where there is an animation importer yet. So everything that you're seeing with Dan looking like Dan stuff is just gobbledygooked, like little pieces of this here, little pieces of that there, mashed together into a stew of a character.
Yeah, like a bit of Deadpool in there somewhere.
Exactly. Like one frame of this Deadpool normal, one frame of this Akuma special. Like that's literally how it works.
It's so cool. That's actually crazy.
Every character's a Frankenstein, a homunculus, if you would.
Yep.
So this was actually, I would think that this would be something that would be announced at like the indie sort of stream that happened during EVO, but no. Origin of Storms is a new fighting game that comes to us from Arcforged that makes head-to-head.
And they were at EVO, by the way, too. They had a head-to-head booth at EVO. They also made Sonic Smackdown, the fan-made Sonic game.
Which I thought was really good. So
it was very
Origin of
good.
Storms is essentially their two things. This is a game that's going to play like a fantasy game that's going to play like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Bloody Roar. Fuck yeah. As each character can like transform into a different form and stuff. Very fast paced. The actual like moment to moment fighting looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
Just in this very, very early version, I just think the only thing that's kind of an issue for me specifically is just like these backgrounds are so plain and kind of basic.
They look like Guild Wars or like early Guild Wars type of stuff.
Yeah, but the characters themselves and the fighting and the animations, that all looks radical. The backgrounds are kind of I'm assuming they're not even close to being done, but this will have rollback and crossplay when it launches. As it should,
because it's an indie game and they could just do that.
Because their current games have also rollback as well too already.
Yeah, they do. There's an old prototype you can play in the game. There'll be a link in the description, and I'll try to make sure that's in there to play their old prototype too. So looking forward to that. Origin of Storms, also fucking cash money name there.
Great name.
Yeah, that is a good name.
I'm a big fan of radical sounding fighting game names. So I thought that was super awesome. Then after that, I'm not sure if you guys saw this. This was like almost 2 weeks old. I only caught it later that there was, I think it was a Taiwanese listing that Soulcalibur Broken Destiny and Tekken 6 may be re-released in some form, most likely on the PlayStation Store as like PS3 or slash PSP re-releases.
Yeah, the Broken Destiny thing reared its head again, where like a year and a half ago this happened before with like a couple of weird PSP games, and didn't eventually like come to a head that resulted in anything being released. So I'm curious what the heck this is.
Yeah. And I'm guessing it's only for Taiwan. Like I guess you need a PlayStation Taiwan account.
It might be, or just might be because Taiwan is one of those places where they just these things come out of there, or Korea, that things just kind of leak. And this is like the second time I've heard of this in like the last month. And Broken Destiny shouldn't have any real big problems. That gets released only on the PlayStation system. That makes sense because Kratos versus Soulcalibur 4 ain't never fucking coming back.
Yeah.
Because of Star Wars, obviously. And even Soulcalibur 5, well, that got delisted and, you know, had all those anime characters in there. So I wouldn't mind playing Broken Destiny again in like a slightly better form. I did play it like a little bit when it came out, but I remember some people telling me recently saying that's like one of the worst single player like suites of content for a Soulcalibur game. Like it's got so very little.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have its own exclusive modes or anything.
The big thing about Broken Destiny was Kratos.
That was okay.
Yeah, it's like the big bait of like, oh, check this game. It's the Soulcalibur game that has Kratos playable. You know.
Has Kratos been in the most fighting games?
I think so.
PlayStation All Stars.
In terms of recurring, PlayStation All Stars, Mortal Kombat 9.
Like
and
one
Soulcalibur.
Single guest character that's been in more than anybody else. Like
Link is up there.
That's not part of fighting game culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not part of fighting game culture.
Or just
like Terry wins, you know.
Terry probably wins now. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it might be Kratos.
It's either Kratos or like Link, because Link's got Soulcalibur and Smash.
That's true. Smash is cheating because he gets like 3 versions.
Yeah,
it is cheating, but you know that's so on that same thing, that same sort of topic. I wanted to kind of put this in because I was like, that really sucks. Is the Microsoft announced that they are just going to be closing the Xbox 360 store.
Yeah.
So what that means is that most of what's available there is playable on Xbox Ones, Xbox Series S and X's, but there are a number of games that just never got any re-release anywhere on those systems. They're on PlayStation Store for now, for forever, how long. But of fighting games, if you have an Xbox system, Darkstalkers Resurrection, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition, Super Street Fighter 2 HD Remix, and Mortal Kombat HD Online will like essentially be deleted from ever being played if you don't want to hop over and get a PlayStation system.
And then
or
Marvel Origins and MVC2 also just completely gone. Like already delisted, but now they're completely gone.
Yeah. And
but you can still play online for them, like even if they get delisted, right?
Yep.
Yes.
They
if they get delisted and you have it, you can still play it, but no one can purchase them in the future.
They're still just using like Xbox Live matchmaking, which, you know, I think has all been adopted. All the old Xbox 360 games, most of those still work.
And I guess to Capcom, they're like, well, you can play Third Strike on the Anniversary Collection, and you can play Darkstalkers on the Fighting Game Collection.
Yeah.
I don't think... Did HD Remix ever get any sort of physical? No, huh?
No physical, but like Ultra Street Fighter 2 exists, you know, but HD Remix is a completely different game, gameplay-wise.
It was made by a different person too, right? Because it was
HD Remix.
David Sirlin.
Yeah, Sirlin was like the gameplay designer,
Yeah.
So, but his changes aren't in... The Ultra Street Fighter.
No, it's not.
No, Ultra Street Fighter 2 is mostly like the same game from what I understand, and then you add the new characters and they're fucking wild.
Yeah, and don't put respect on it. Way of the Hado mode, the mode Sirlin wishes he was brave enough to have added.
So what is Mortal Kombat? I don't think I ever played Mortal Kombat HD Online. Is it just like old school Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, it was Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. It was made by Code Mystics.
Mystics, yeah.
I think Code Mystics and maybe in Compendium with somebody else, but it's like one of the only re-releases of those games like ever. And it's still pretty rough. It has a lot of input delay, and it still has a ton of screen tearing like all over the place in the PlayStation and the Xbox version. But still, like, one of the only ways you can actually play MK1, 2, or 3 online.
Yeah, unless you have like a cabinet or something.
Yeah,
of course, or if you're gonna emulate or whatever. But
in terms of actual releases, it's the only one.
Since there's so much Capcom stuff, I don't know. I just think it was cool. They're like, oh yeah, that's going to go away. We can't do anything. Maybe we can reissue these games in like another package, or I don't know. Do something like with them, because Capcom being like fighting games again, it kind of made me go, oh, I hope someone there kind of like notices that this, is potentially an issue, especially online edition.
Yes, that I was about to say the one that hurts the most is Third Strike Online edition. 100%. That one's harsh.
Yeah, but I think in terms of just like the online community, a lot of people have switched over to PlayStation playing these games.
Yeah,
but like Third Strike Online edition.
Too.
Yeah, but even before like this announcement, like I know like all the Xbox and PS3 guys, they always play on PS3 because for some reason they have a way to mod their PS3s.
Yes,
they have like different colors, different music, and everything like that. So most people, when they do play online for these games, it's probably going to be on PS3 already.
Yeah, people found a way to like mod PlayStation 3 where you can still play online through PlayStation services, but just download the package files, which is just the executables of, DLC games or downloadable games. So like Marvel 2, Third Strike Online Edition, Marvel Origins are all technically available still. You can install them on jailbroken PS3s. Yeah,
there have been people that tried to give me a PS3 because they want me to play with like Marvel 2 online. And I'm like, well, I don't have Marvel 2 online. But like, yo, I got a PS3. I'll give it to you. I'm like, I thought you can't buy it anymore. I was like, don't worry about it. So, yeah,
it's possible to get it, not legally, not in a way that like can actually support the game in some way, like a release that'll get everybody excited. Not like that. It's like in the same way that emulation is dope, that is also dope that you can do that.
Yeah.
I have a much lamer version of your story, Justin, where someone was like, hey, I really want you to play the Punisher arena shooter that was only on the PS3 called Punisher No Mercy, and it was online for like a year. Then they delisted it.
Was it fun?
It's the whole point. Like it was like really, really bad. It got savage in reviews, and it's so stupid. It's like it plays like Unreal Tournament type thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, here's my login information, and like here's my account. Just like I completely trust you. Here you go. You can download it now because it's been delisted for years. I was like, that's really nice. It did make sure to make videos of it and stuff to maximize of it. Like, yeah, it's a much lamer version of that. But I guess like any 360s in the future that someone can sell, they're like the Scott fucking online edition.
They resell that higher.
Darkstalkers Resurrection, like Darkstalkers Resurrection is like the second thing that stings the most there, because that's like a super good version of it, and you can play as almost all the other on all the other versions of Darkstalkers and Vampire in the fighting game collection, but it's still not the same. The presentation also, it does a lot for them.
Yeah, that's ultimately why Third Strike stings the most, because Darkstalkers got a pretty good comeuppance in the latest Capcom Fighting Collection, at least. Even more versions of the game with more settings, I think, are technically playable in that. Yeah. Like you could change individual things, like Dimitri's bullshit does this, or turn that off, which is like the small differences. But Third Strike Online Edition has like a ton of trials and single player content and unlocks and like, great online and colors and music changes. Like it is, even Darkstalkers Resurrection didn't get all that shit. So
it didn't. But
Third Strike Online hurts.
But Resurrection at least has this also like history of this is the thing that came out of Darkstalkers Not Dead. Like this is what ultimately Capcom decided to do, because that project didn't really go anywhere. So here's kind of this. So it just kind of starts kind of being taken away. Yeah. Again, if you decide to like, oh, I want to get a PS3 or a PS4 or whatever it is, you can do it that way. But if someone doesn't want to, splurge on that, like, it's not really an option anymore, which kind of sucks. But this also generally is. This rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, because Phil Spencer had said like a year ago, like we at Xbox are committed to preserving history, and we don't. I think this is in regards to when Sony did that thing where they're like, hey, we're going to close down the PS3 store, and people complained so much that they said, okay, shit, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. We
Yeah.
heard you loud and clear. And he had made this quote, said like, we were against the practice of bits of history disappearing forever. And it's like, this is the fighting game stuff I'm talking about. It's like something like 200 games
Yeah.
Yep.
in general that are being deleted off like Xbox systems. They're still
And-
available in other forms. But
And the DLC therein, like if you wanted
Yeah.
to go to download Vader or something like that or whatever, I don't even know if it still is there, but Soulcalibur 4 DLC, Soulcalibur 5 DLC, we just talked about the Soulcalibur 5 DLC being delisted, but like stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where if you just wanted to get the expansive elements to these older games, they're just done.
Gone.
Like they're gone.
And I did see some people saying, well, they can't logistically keep this stuff up forever. I'm like, if you're Microsoft, you can keep it up for longer than
There's
this.
a
Yeah.
cloud or some shit. Shut up.
An indie company, a mid-tier like studio developer publisher, it's like, yes, I understand these things cost money. You're Microsoft.
Yeah.
I think you can take the hit.
Eventually, you have all these systems where, like, all of your modern games, you want to download them, they immediately download it like 30 gigs a second or some shit. But you have to connect to some weird, funky old server that is like Xbox 360. Let's start searching, and they have to like go to something, and eventually it turns into like a mouse that has to connect like a red and a blue wire. And it's like, Jesus, get this guy his content.
It's like,
there's
the,
like
it's
this-
like the AOL, bro. The AOL logo when you sign on,
Yeah.
everything like that. That's
There's
pretty
this
much what it is.
ancient old analog computer in like a deep Microsoft basement that has all these cobwebs on it and starts to whirring back to life.
Yeah.
Because Max needs to download that character and girl fight.
It's the fucking scene in Captain America Winter Soldier where it's like this
Yeah.
AI old weird dickhead running at what? They want Third Strike DLC? Fine.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of not the greatest news. Maybe they'll decide against it and go back on what they said, but who knows? So Max, you mentioned playing the MK1 beta. Me and Justin had played it at EVO.
Yeah.
So what were your general thoughts on it? You're liking the changes, right?
So yeah, I played beta 1, and just for perspective of the situation, that was like a month and a half ago or something like that. And I played it for a session, and I was kind of like, I'm good. I don't know if I need to play anything more. I think I got a handle of the game. And I felt that like there's going to be a lot more to this game, but we just need to see more of it. We just need to see more characters and
Cameos.
more cameos and how they work together. So I can say beta 2 was a lot better. It did definitely get speedier, and I don't know if any other small incremental changes were in there that did change stuff, but I still have issues. But I spent all 3 days of that beta playing that game. And just
a good sign.
You're playing multiple characters, playing the new cameo, which was Frost, who had a lot of utility and seemed pretty dang good. And it was legit like, yeah, I'm still enjoying either playing Sub-Zero or Lee May and figuring out stuff. And I have no intention of really playing them when the game comes out, like at all. But I was having a good time. So I wanted to go back and play more. That game is 100% a fucking grounded footsie as fuck fighting game. It absolutely is, with a lot of like crazy bullshit. Because you start learning when you fight people that are really good, that just block all of the attacks, and don't let you jump, because jumps are very easily anti-aired. So yeah, like a lot of that game is to be played from like a grounded level with punishing, and that's where I started getting a lot of my wins, with punishing somebody, pushing them full screen, keeping them away with the cameo, and then sitting on a life lead. And that's where like my gripe was, that later on when I was playing the game either as Lee May or playing against other characters that were like that, they would sit on a life lead, and now you got to go in, because defense is very powerful in that game. Not everybody has like unreactable overheads like Johnny and stuff like that.
That's my boy.
And Johnny plays like a goddamn MK9 character, so he's really wild.
I love him.
But still, you know, that most of the matches were going to timeout against people that are good or under like 10 seconds. So it just took a long, like, I was telling people, man, matches are lasting a long time in this game. We're doing damage too. Like, we touch each other, we're doing 30 to 45% damage. So it's not like the damage is low. It isn't. It's just that the interaction times, the screen space, like how much it takes to get in and eventually like get to each other in a way that isn't super risky, kind of takes a while. And it sort of takes, because you have to wait for cameos to refresh and all this shit to eventually do it. And if that fails, then you just got to wait again. So, yeah, I was noticing a lot of the matches between people that are really, really good at the game were starting to take a while to close out. So I hope that does eventually change.
I'm not sure if it happens in this game. I didn't time it, but like I remember historically, timers in Mortal Kombat are actually quite fast.
Yeah.
Compared to some other games, but I'm not sure if if that's the case here.
This one is quick. It starts at 90 seconds, number one,
Right.
and it is actual 1 second representative. So it isn't like every second lasts 3 seconds. In some fighting games, that is the case, where it's like your 30-second timer is actually technically 60 or 90. No, it's 1 second per. So most of our fights are going to like the minute and a half. And it doesn't feel like to me that it's taking that long, but people were starting to say, seems kind of slow.
You know what it is? Because in Mortal Kombat games, grabs are so strong and you have
They
to
take a
use them.
long time.
Elaborate
It take like
animation.
5 seconds for a grab. Like Lee May's grab, they do a whole camera zoom in to the dragon and everything. That's like 5 seconds, man.
That's
So
yeah, I agree.
it just it takes a long time. But I had a blast playing the beta because this is the first time I played people and played online. Other times we played, it was like, here, you have 30 minutes to capture footage, and now I'm just playing by myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just figuring out combos. So, but actually understanding how like the fighting works, the neutral, the spacing, calling us your cameo while doing combo and everything. It was a blast. Online was actually a lot better than expected. Obviously, like if you're on Wi-Fi, then it's gonna suck. But if you're wired to wired, it's actually really amazing. So yeah, it just doesn't have that Street Fighter 6 where Wi-Fi is playable in ranked matches or anything like that.
Yeah, I definitely had some, more often than not, some funky connection stuff, and you see it in the rollbackiness of the game when characters are walking back and forward because it is a grounded footsie game, and it's just they're just like teleporting forward and back because the in-between frames aren't being interpolated. I really enjoyed it, but I feel like for an online beta, this one didn't feel amazing because I also felt a ton of input delay. Like it really felt like things felt like they were kind of underwater where there's a lot of caked in input delay. So I'm very curious to see how the PC version feels, if it does feel any better when it comes out.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared of the PC version.
I know.
Historically, Mortal Kombat PC ports.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
We might have to buy the game 2 times.
Yeah.
Justin, you seem to enjoy Lee May because, and I quote, Justin Wong said, "Who is this new waifu in Mortal Kombat 11?"
Justin's getting canceled. Here we go.
Bro, like, I mean, 100%. Like, when I saw Lee May, I was like, who is this character, right? Everyone's like, it's Lee May. I'm like,
it's Natara.
From what? And I'm like, oh, the PS2 era. I'm like, well, I never really played the PS2 Mortal Kombats. And then you have all these other characters coming back, like the most recent one. I was like, is that Fujin? That's what I thought who that was. And they're like, no, you don't know who that is? I was like, I definitely don't know who that is. You know, but it was Shujinko. I'm like, I don't remember Shujinko at all.
So I like Max said, is that Shang Tsung? Because it looked like Shang Tsung at first, because old Fujin looks like old Shujinko. We're all getting mixed up names already. Old Shujinko just looks like classic old Shang Tsung. So I did not expect him to show up at all, and the fact that he's sick as fuck was also like unexpected, where he's like doing like the super
punches?
quick, like I was like, holy shit.
And he steals moves and stuff.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he steals. He does Shao Kahn's axe thing, and he does Sindel's big kick thing. So he's a move stealer.
Dural.
Yeah,
he's a Dural.
Okay, that's cool. I just thought that was his move. Like I didn't think like he was stealing a character move depending on who he fought, because the trailer just made it seem like that's his move.
Because it's a lot like it's a lot like a Street Fighter 6 World Tour mode, where in the Deception Conquest mode, when you played as Fujin, you found moves from other characters, like your Scorpion Spear. So you learn it, and then you have like a fighting special move repertoire where it's like, I have one move from almost everybody. You can do Raiden's Torpedo, you can do this, you can do that. So the fact that they're carrying that over here is like, at least it's like NetherRealm are not just taking old characters from that era and be like, oh, it's just whatever. Just do something new with them. They're actually going, no, this is what the character was about in those old games. So let's make sure to preserve that. So it's not like, the window dressing for 3D era fans. Like, here's Hotaru, or here's well, God, what's his name already? Can't even remember. Havoc.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's a completely new character. No, it's pretty similar to how he was. So I think that's sick. The Mortal Kombat news is crazy. There's the new trailer that showed off a bunch of characters, but we could kind of leapfrog that almost and talk about the combat cast breakdowns because they covered pretty much everyone, right? General Shao, Sindel, Rain as well, I think.
Rain was in it too.
Yeah. So for those at home and for Justin that only knows half of it, Max, what does Sindel do? What is her ability?
What doesn't she do? So so Sindel gets like a lot of her normals, MK9 stuff, like big flip kicks and all this kind of stuff, big hair grab things. Good launchers. She gets a tiger knee projectile that you can do really low to the ground. She gets a low projectile as well. Low and high grounded projectile and tiger knee projectileable. So that's pretty freaking good. Seems to have decent combos, seems to have decent damage, seems to have a decent amount of specials as well. I'm trying to, I'm already going to start forgetting stuff. So the crazy thing she can do, number one, she can do a special that like she like snaps the air and she gets a buff, but it doesn't visually show anywhere, but it buffs her cameo.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that her cameo is, it recovers almost instantly. So you could just like spam the cameo, like just bring him out and bring him out again, bring him out again. And as long as the buff is active. So it's like, wow, that seems good.
You know how long, like, well, is there a visual cue when it
there was no
ends?
visual. That's the weird thing is that a lot of the buff things in this game, like Garrus's buff and stuff like that, we don't know, like there's no visual for it, which is really weird. So we don't, she snaps.
You just gotta guess.
For a while she got it. I can't remember what happens when she EXs it, but she has like other things that allow her, like I think when she EXs it, she steals your cameo or some, like the other person's cameo or some wild and shit, gets access to her own and that one.
Yeah, I looked this up today because this is the part I don't think Justin knows, is that if she EXs it, she can control her opponent's cameo and gets them confused and can stop them from combo breaking. And shit like that.
That's another move. So that's
like, another move?
Yeah, it's different from her buff. Yeah, she has a move where she goes like blah, blah, blah. And if the cameo's out when she goes blah, 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 the cameo will get affected and they'll go duh, and they'll literally be unusable. So they'll just sit there like in a trance state or something like that. Yes, and there was some weird combination. One of these specials, if it did work this way, quite literally leads to a situation where if the opponent blocks your shit, their cameo comes out and Sindel goes fuck you and like knocks them down and gets full combo. So it's like an auto counter breaker.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild.
So some of this is called Queen's Command, is the snapping special, I think, at least. And it's like, I'm such a goddamn queen that my opponent's cameo will be like, I have to do what you say. I don't care about this schmuck I'm teaming up with. Look at
it's crazy. And I'm missing like several other things that she can do. I'm trying to even remember, but it was a lot of like cameo manipulation and how that works, and manipulating her own cameo and giving them buffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty sick though. Like it's so like it doesn't make the character like a rinse repeat. Like okay, you just do these combos and then call your cameo, do another combo.
Yeah,
because
that's kind of the way the game is with some characters right now.
It is.
It's like I do the same one or three things and I call my cameo during these things and that's about it.
Yep.
Because remember when we first saw Johnny Cage and like he has this crazy hype meter and we were all like, at that time we hadn't seen all the other characters yet. Like, wow, why does Johnny get that? And all the characters announced up to that point like are just kind of normal.
And there's like I'm like really impressed with Sindel. Like, man, they're taking a big like crazy jump with this. It feels like an MKX character. Like this is some Jason breaks his neck and your controls are reversed type shit, you know? So I think it's really cool. And then like we have the perspective of some other characters that are like really straightforward in comparison to what they're proposing with some of these other characters, right? Some characters feel like they get like a lot of juice and a lot of crazy shit, Johnny Cage included. And other characters are like pretty like, all right, so that's Sub-Zero.
Yeah, that's like Sub-Zero.
He does Sub-Zero stuff and is okay. So, and that sort of extends over to Rain, who was the next character, and Rain pretty much is the Cetrion of the game now. So he has like a ton of projectiles. He has like ability to put water portals down and teleport through water portals and do some JP-ish sort of things. But the big gimmick he has is that a lot of his specials are dash cancelable. So you can hold it down and it gives you like a buffed version and you can dash out of it. He also has normals that are like that too, that if you like hold the normal down, you get a buff version, you can dash out of it. So I'm like, dang.
And it's something like almost all of his normals, like he doesn't even use his fists or legs. It's like all staff based. Like
it's all staff based stuff, yeah.
His sweep is just a water sweep, and like his strings are just the water swirling around. I'm like, wow, that's really going ham on the character. Like, but still has his backwards world-spanning teleport kick that hits the character from
Apparently
the other side.
Standing 4, and you can charge that too. The interesting part is that some of his projectiles were also cancelable, so you can like build up this big projectile and make it bigger and shoot it forward, or you could not commit to it. So it's like we got a low commitment projectile character that seems pretty fucking good. So yeah, Rain seems like he is the premier zoner of the game so far.
Yeah, because there's doesn't seem like there's much zoners like being shown yet until recently with Rain and Sindel. Like other characters, I guess Liu Kang too. But like other characters, it's like they're more reliant on like combo and a cameo, or using more the cameos as like your zoning tool. Like when Sindel was spamming that who's that character? I don't want to get canceled. The one that she was using.
Serena,
like,
yeah.
That was a super fast projectile coming back, literally recovering in an instant. Like that was like faster than what a normal character can naturally spam.
And again, characters like Liu Kang, he is a zoner, right? You get way more projectiles with him, and if you don't engage with Liu, it's actually better, you know, because he's got combos and shit when you eventually land that hit. But playing him from like mid to long was way more effective.
Yeah, makes sense.
And General Shao is kind of like, ooh, this is the character for me. Just big bruiser throwing around his axe.
Sick. Yeah.
He looks really cool.
Throwing down his axe and then it like warping into his hands after like 7 seconds. But during that time, he's just like, I have different strings. I have different shit. I'm still surprised that they even like brought Shao Kahn back and do something new with him in terms of actual gameplay stuff. The only thing during that combat cast and like the initial trailer is some of Mortaro's animations look a lot more off than a lot of other characters. I'm assuming it's because what the fuck is the skeleton of this character and how do we animate him in a convincing way? Because he has that grab cameo thing where he just picks you up and like smacks you, punches you down, which is straight out of MK3. But it looks silly. It looks silly. It has so much less impact and stuff. And I mean, it's a really minor thing, but I was just like, I'm glad Motaro's here. Like that's a good choice for a cameo, but still.
I mentioned the exact same thing where he's got all this kind of like fantastical stuff he's doing in his other like cameo stuff. I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy.
Projectile deflect.
Exactly. And this looks really cool. And then he grabs it and he's just like, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I guess they didn't know what to do since it's like, even when he did it in Mortal Kombat 3, it was just very straightforward, right? But his other 2 cameos, they look kind of broken.
No, they look really good.
The
3 fireballs is like 3 fireballs, like 1, then 2, then 3. But the shield one, looks so insane because it looked like when it reflected back and they got hit, it just took they take so much damage.
Yeah. So I'm really digging some of I'm not too worried about zoning in the game in general because there's already a lot of anti-zoning tools on cameos and on some characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then I saw one clip. I don't know if that was real or I saw Stryker. He just arrests you. He handcuffed you. That's a thing.
Yeah, Stryker does like a hit grab. Or something where one of his cameos doesn't come from your side. It comes from the other side of the screen, and he like runs into your back. And if you're not blocking, he cuffs you for a second. And then you break out of the cuffs, and then it gives you like a lot of plus frames.
Cuffing a Mortal Kombat character is ludicrous. Like, oh, I'm gonna cuff Goro or like whatever it is, like whoever.
Bro, the best part is he got little sirens that come up like it's blue and red.
I saw that. Every time he jumps in, like what a like we got to pay extra close attention to Striker. All the kids are asking for Striker, so you got to give him extra.
It was so fun.
presentational things.
And Striker had one of the best. What's not called assault? I always forget the name of them. The fast cameos that don't require a pose in order to execute.
Ambush.
Ambush camo. He had an ambush cameo where he throws like the grenades, like UMK3.
Oh, yeah.
And they're fast as shit, and they pop you up as well. And that's his ambush assist. So you can just like throw that shit out and jump into it and whatever. So that seemed very good.
It's kind of like Sonya when I think was it MK10 or MK11 when she had that.
Yes, sorta, yeah. But this one's like the fast ass grenade, like old MK3 Striker, like, and these two grenades just go out and go boom, boom, really fast. So it was like that seems like one of the better, like quicker assists in the game.
Nice.
Yeah. So going back to the single player stuff, Max, you played the story mode. I mean, not much to say. Obviously, it's story mode. You did a bunch of cutscenes, but you played the new Invasion single player mode, which is essentially what Ed was talking about a few weeks ago that we mentioned. Is like it basically replaces the crypt.
Yes.
And that this is where you're going to do all your unlocking. And I watched like another YouTuber. I honestly forget his name. Apologize, but he had like a long 26-minute video of him playing through it, and you just unlock skins for characters just by playing the game.
Yes.
And you unlock like a sick ass Johnny Cage skin.
Yes.
Where he's got like this like, remember that fuzzy gi that Ken had in Street Fighter 4?
It's kind of got that.
He's kind of got that, but it's the cool version of that where I'm like, oh, that looks so sick. So what did you think of that mode?
Yeah, so it plays out like theoretically like a crypt mode where it's like you move from spot to spot. Like the crypt in the older games was like, forward, left, or right, and up and
like
look
on a grid.
On a grid. It's sort of like that. So it's like a board game. And when you get to a location, you have to essentially fight enemies that have gimmicks in some way, or some of them do, some of them don't. So when you fight them, you sometimes unlock like unlockables for the stage that you're currently in to unlock doors and stuff like that. Or you will just get rewards in the form of character colors, character skins, and customizable items. So it looks like the customization in MK1 is pretty similar to MK11, where Sub-Zero, you can get like a yellow costume on him potentially, or stuff like that, where you're going to get like the way a character looks and their visuals, and then changes for the colors on their visuals. So that seems to be all over the place in MK1. We just haven't seen the customization as of yet.
Right, like we haven't seen like where that actually takes place, because in
But
the
this
betas it doesn't have that.
This mode is 100% where you unlock it. There's a lot of cool things like secret fights and stuff where if you complete certain objectives or decipher like a riddle, you can get more unlocks and access to other paths where it's like, there's obviously a path over there. How can I get over there? And there's like a certain parameter. You have to defeat enemies in a certain way during a fight. So
That's cool.
There's some fun shit. Like it very much felt like they're trying to all the fun old secrets of MK games from the past. They're sort of cramming all that stuff into this mode.
It really reminds me of something you'd see in the 3D era, like not exactly Conquest, because Conquest was more like free roaming.
Yeah.
But it seems like an amalgamation of the Conquest mode from Deadly Alliance, where it did play out a little bit like a board game where you're on a set path.
Yeah, that's where like Shujinko's walking around and shit, right?
No, Deadly Alliance. The Deadly Alliance one was like, that's the very first Conquest mode, but it was more of like a super elaborate tutorial.
Yeah.
But you did do fights and you walked around. The Shujinko one is the more free roaming GTA style.
Oh, I see.
Wander around the map.
That's the one with like David and Taven or whatever, right?
No,
that...
that's the one from Armageddon, which was just God of War.
Okay.
That's the one where there was no tutorial stuff. There wasn't. It was just about Taven and Daven, just God of War. That's all that was, right? So I don't know why I know all this stuff, but
so my question is,
that's why you won't get canceled.
Where the hell's Moloch?
Moloch,
you fake ass Mortal Kombat fans. Where's Moloch?
Moloch is in Deadly Alliance as the sub boss to Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. In in Deception, he does not appear except for being an NPC story character that just goes, "I'm Moloch."
Yes. The
And
heart
then in
of Mortal
Armageddon,
Kombat.
The heart.
in Armageddon, he was playable there, but everyone was playable in Armageddon, so that
Yeah.
barely counts. But yeah, that's the question. Why you been asking so much? Where's Moloch?
Because I got to pull something out of my ass from the weird ass PS2 games that no one else gives a shit about, where everyone gives a shit about Nitara and, you know, all these characters that are mostly forgotten to time.
I will say you picked a good one.
I
to
did.
Be like, yeah.
I did.
It's
Everyone goes to Meat and Mocap. I'm like, those guys are bitches. Where's Moloch?
they're not story canon-ish characters either. They're not like, you know, they're like a fun dumb bonus. I
Exactly.
think Blaze is kind of there as well, but like he was a boss. Anyway.
Where is Hornbuckle, you stupid fan bastards?
Nah, these are not real names. I don't believe y'all.
That's a fan name.
Hornbuckle's real.
That's a fan name, to be fair.
Hornbuckle's real. What are you guys talking about?
I don't
Chameleon
know.
is real.
Hornbuckle
not
is the
real.
guy in the background stage of the pit.
Yes, but he was never playable.
No,
and
not playable.
I think he might have been mentioned in one of the story modes. Like there's an ancient warrior named Hornbuckle.
Yeah. He's the guy that's fighting the dude on fire.
Bro,
Yeah.
there's no way you'd be like, yo, there's an ancient warrior named Hornbuckle. Watch
Yes.
out, Hornbuckle. He's
We're not
super
making
strong.
that one up. Not making that one up. That one's coming from deep in the recesses.
Bro, I saw
Yeah.
there was that one cinematic where Smoke was fighting that grandma. Is that the same
Bo Rai Cho.
Madam Bo.
Madam Bo?
Madam Bo.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
He
that's
fucking smokes her.
yeah.
Like
I,
literally.
I thought that was the grandma from Mortal Kombat 10.
Oh,
Yeah, that was not Blanche.
throwable.
Oh, not
No.
Blanche. Okay, I thought it was
Not
Blanche.
Blanche.
For some reason, I'm like, oh, they brought Blanche back. That's what I
Blanche is a
thought.
hero. Blanche stays in MKX.
God damn
I
it.
couldn't believe I saw that clip of like Smoke like canceling moves and beating this old lady up and then throws her off a roof and some shit.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing.
No,
I
that
didn't
one
see
dude
that.
that like just was really chill at the bar when they were fighting, and he just took the ice for his drink.
Yeah.
That was
Some
super
Steven
funny.
Spielberg shit right there.
Yeah, super funny.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to Invasions Mode too because I really did enjoy the crit modes from the last two games. Like I always kind of felt, especially the one in MK11, like you could make this a game. You could make this its own like standalone thing or like a DLC or something. So with the footage I saw of it and Max, your video as well, like just made me go like, yeah, this is even more elaborate than I thought it would be. Because there's tons of voiceover and Johnny's talking to the player, and I assume when you switch out to a different tile set, like you go to, I think an Outworld Village after Johnny's Mansion, and then I'm assuming
Yeah.
another character narrates it.
Yeah, you do. And the fights change. There's more like different gimmicks. That one had an interesting secret where you saw a pathway and there's like a note or like a hint, and it says like blow up the world or destroy the world like backwards. So to unlock that part of the stage, you need to do Cyrax's fatality against the opponent on that part of the map. And then
That's why
when
I
you
kept
do
saying
it, it says secret unlocked, and it blows up the rubble that's in the way, and you can just get the reward.
How do you win when you do that fatality? Kayfabe me, right? Let's talk about in-universe stuff. If your opponent blows up the Earth, who is saying Cyrax won?
Other multiverse shit. They're already pitching in
Other
invasions
multiverse
mode
shit.
that there's like other like multiverse shit going down because there's like in this place Scorpion is a crazy asshole because his wife always gets killed, so he's fucking nuts. And there's like a Scorpion boss fight with a big Scorpion skin that we didn't get to actually fight or
I
do.
saw that. That's the sickest skin, though.
Yeah, it's
If
a
that
cool
was,
looking
like,
skin.
He looked like he was from Injustice, like not
Yep.
his exact Injustice look, but it was something like
It
that.
looked like an
oh,
Injustice
damn.
2 Scorpion. Yeah.
I am interested to see if perhaps, kind of in contrast to Street Fighter 6, will these be unlockable in the game? Will there be a costume pack available day one type thing?
Yeah.
That I'm kind of... Was there any actual, in the Invasion mode, was there the all the resources you had to collect, like the hearts and all of that
No.
from MK11?
No,
Excellent,
nothing.
excellent.
I can't recall if
Coins,
there was
right?
coins or anything else like that. I don't think so. But it wasn't immediately apparent. The big gimmick in Invasions mode is that it's like RPG mode, where you can get accessories that add moves to your character and stuff, and you can get modifiers to stats, and your character levels up with your cameo character. So that was the big gimmick to it. But if we're talking to like hearts and green shit and coins, I did not see a lot of that.
I think I saw coins, but that was it.
Maybe.
I think it was just like you can spend coins to buy the buffs in the mode to.
Yeah, so there was a shop, so that does make sense. Yeah, there was a shop
but
to purchase amulets and shit.
I didn't see the MK11 stuff, which was always like a big turn off for me. I'm like,
Wait,
I can have one currency.
Because it's different. It's different now, right? Like there was 3 goddamn currencies because of the crypt mode, and unlocking certain things in the crypt mode required green shit or red shit or like all that hearts or green shit, right? So now that isn't there, and how do you unlock things? Well, you actually have to play through this game. Right? You have to play through the invasion mode. There's a bunch of different maps that are in invasion mode that you'll be able to go through and figure out the secrets therein. So yeah, they pretty much turned the crypt into a playable mode. Instead of this side thing, this is how you unlock shit. Now it's got this entire like voiced by characters and takes you on this little adventure, and they do little jokes, and it seems like a fun mode.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we want to wrap stuff up with a game called Tekken. Perhaps a lot of things packed into that one trailer.
A lot.
Here's the entire cast. Here's the release date. Here's a brand new mode. What did you? I didn't check out any of your guys' reactions to this. So what were you thinking?
It was funny because when I was seeing all the characters, I'm like, it took me a while. I was like, did they announce? I was like, in my head, did they announce this character?
No.
Yeah.
Right?
6 characters, yeah.
Yeah, like once Dragunov came out, and I was like, they announced Dragunov, right?
Dragon, Steve, and Kuma just like rapid fired, you know?
Right? Yeah, Yoshimitsu and Leo, and I was like, nah, these characters are 100% new. They're just throwing them out there all of a sudden. No trailers, nothing. And then I was just so confused for at least 20 seconds, just thinking in my head, are these brand new characters released, like being announced right now? But yeah, they were like 6 characters announced.
It's a little weird because with its release date of what, January 26th?
Yeah, January
There's
26th.
still time. Like I like to think these characters are still going to get their own trailers. Like this is just getting them announcements out of the way. But I was still surprised. I thought for sure 1 or 2, you know. But I was shocked to see like the entire cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and them focusing. I actually think there's still some characters left.
Oh yeah, there's some.
I don't think it's the full roster. I don't think, but
they have 16 in the beta, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then they announced 6 here. That's 22, and then there's Azu, and then Raven. That's 24.
And they said there's 32 total.
32 total. So maybe there's 8 more
So
characters.
there's like 6 to 8 more characters missing. Yeah.
Really? Okay, good because if this was the full launch roster, it'd be a little weird. It's like there's one new character, the perfect blend. And
I think there's supposed to be, you know, I think there's supposed to be more than one. I think there's another one in there somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
But the other gameplay mode, like the arcade mode, had me kind of excited of like walking around an arcade. It's sort of like offline Battle Hub in Street Fighter 6 is what it seems like.
Very
But
similar.
What they were describing sounded very much like a Virtua Fighter 4 mode, which is like travel to different arcades and get your notoriety and, you know, like do this sort of like quest mode that VF4 had. It didn't seem like that was at least in the trailer, it didn't seem like that was the case. But we'll see. We'll see when it actually comes out, how feature rich and how different from the main story mode that is. I really just didn't like the Mii fighters or the Xbox 360s.
I wasn't a fan of that.
Here's the thing. If this came out like 2 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. That is what I expect. After Street Fighter 6 now, it's like I can't go back to Xbox 360 avatars.
Yeah.
I want to make a Tekken freak, right?
Sorry?
I want to make a Tekken freak.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a Tekken freak, and I get how it's a lot of work. I'm sure Capcom put a lot of work in the character creator of Street Fighter 6, but now that that's been thrown down, and obviously these games had similar development timelines, Tekken's only coming out like less than a year after, but still, like it's rough to make your super creative avatar, make them as cool or as freaky as you want, and now it's like go back to hey, you want to see what the bottom of an avatar's shoe looks like again? it's kind of jarring now,
Yeah.
especially for a game that looks like Tekken.
Yeah, so I think the verdict's kind of out on the arcade RPG whatever mode they got going on. However, the customization in that trailer, and they went into later detail
Still
how
impressive.
much more stuff is getting customized. We're kind of getting, at least it seems like it early on, create a soul level of customization where you can actually move parts on characters and stuff like you could in Soulcalibur. So there's even deeper customization than Tekken's ever had before. Way more
That's
than like
fair.
Tekken. Than just putting on a t-shirt, putting on some pants and shit. No, you can actually like
Yeah.
move shit around now.
So for your actual character, these avatars are probably going to be a little bit more limited, but I guess it really matters what your chosen main or
chosen
whatever
main.
characters that you like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean specifically is on the existing Tekken roster and their customization. Like what you can do with them is way more than any Tekken before. So they went ham on character customization more than ever before.
Do you think there would be like kind of like little mini games like in that arcade? Like I wanted like Tekken Ball, for example.
I don't see why not.
You don't think so? We're not gonna we won't have an extreme battle modes type of thing going on for Tekken.
Because all that stuff is offline. All that whole mode is a single player mode.
I didn't realize that. I thought there was like an online element because you see people walking around in an arcade. You just feel like
Yeah,
it's like the battle.
exactly. Exactly. That's what's
That's
weird when they're like,
offline?
this is a single player mode.
So these are just random NPCs just walking near you.
Yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
At least that's what they're setting up. Like maybe that could change. Maybe there was some weird communication, but that whole mode with the Xbox 360 avatars is offline.
Yeah, because the way like they were saying, oh yeah, we're gonna have like new modes like before they showed the trailer, I was like, oh, we're gonna have like Tekken Ball or like Tekken Bowling, something like that.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been cool.
Tekken's been weird where even historically, like the cool versus things that they can throw into the game aren't online.
Yeah.
You know, they've done that in the
yeah.
past.
I want Devil Within 2 mode.
Yeah, that was online.
I want it. That or Tekken Force, whatever. Like I think that obviously that'd be fine, or maybe even in a future update would be fine. With those slots still left open on the roster, apologize before. I really thought that was it. Like here's the rest of the cast, that was it. But if they said 32 and that's still missing some, I really do hope Lydia. I'm happy that Leroy's in there. I really enjoyed Lydia in Tekken 7. I hope she kind of makes it in there as well in the launch roster. But since we've now seen Yoshimitsu and all the rest of the cast. Oh, speaking of which, Yoshimitsu design, where like in terms of all-time great Yoshi designs,
Top notch.
where top 5.
I think top 2 or 3.
It's
Oh,
up
okay.
there.
Really, I think it's up there.
Definitely up there.
What about Kuma though? I love Kuma.
Yeah,
mean,
Kuma
everyone
has
loves
Heihachi's
Kuma.
like his Heihachi's
Yeah.
like 1+2 or whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
he's taking Heihachi moves and he literally has Heihachi's like gi with like
Yep.
the tattered spikes and everything. I
So-
was like, whoa.
I will be a prophet this time. Sometimes Max does this, but I'm going to say in the future, I believe that they'll announce that Heihachi has possessed Kuma's
Yes,
body.
I love it.
This will be truth.
Kuma has
man.
a digital brain, and the digital recreation of Heihachi
Kuma-
was put into Kuma.
I can
He's
believe
a
that.
mecha.
I actually
He's
could
a
bel-
mecha.
I could believe that, especially when Raven, you get the little Raven, Heihachi Mishima is dead in the trailer, and I'm like,
That was crazy that they
Yeah.
put that in.
yeah, and then
I-
you see Kuma, and I'm like,
Is he?
I desperately want a Tekken cutscene where Kazuya and Kuma face off, and Kuma's just like, "Rawr, rawr, rawr, rawr."
And you have subtitles, and like, damn you, Kazuya.
according to Kazuya, it's just angry bear noises, but we know it's Heihachi. It's like, you piece of shit, I'm gonna kill you for throwing me in a volcano. He's just,
yeah,
round 1, fight.
that would be so good.
Do it, Harada. I don't ask you for a lot, but please put this in.